Hi, second graders. Today we are in Module 3, Lesson 4's Deep Dive. We have another vocabulary deep dive today. We're going to focus on word relationships. We're going to look at how the words segregation and integration are related. You will need your notebook. We're going to use the vocabulary section. You'll also need your blue book. There is an option to cut and glue things in your blue book, or you can choose to just write the words. Let's review what the word segregation means. We've talked about this in our Wit and Wisdom lessons. It is the action of separating people based on the color of their skin. So looking at a page from our Martin Luther King Jr. March on Washington book, think about how this picture shows segregation. Yes, it shows that colored people and white people had to drink out of different drinking fountains. That is the action of separating people based on the color of their skin, or segregation. We're going to introduce a new word today called integration, which means bringing people together who were separated. So we're going to add this to our vocabulary section of your notebook. Again, we're going to write the word integration, and then write the definition or the meaning of the word, which is bringing together people who were separated. If you need more time to write that, you can pause the video. Looking back in our book, we can look at a couple pages that show examples of integration. So looking at this page, how does this picture show integration? Yes, it shows black children and white children playing together. So they were separated and now they are together. On this page, we show integration by taking down the signs that told people who could enter their buildings. You need your blue book now, open to handout 4C, word relationships. The directions do say to cut apart the words below the chart, so cutting apart these words, or you can just write the words into the two sections if you don't want to cut them out into little pieces. So I will read through each word, and we're going to decide if the word should go with integration or if it should go with segregation. Again, integration is bringing people together who were separated. Segregation is separating people based on the color of their skin. So they are opposites. Okay, let's look at our first word, separate. Where should we put that word? Well, separate looks a lot like segregate, so it goes with segregation. Separate. Okay, let's go down. The next word is join. Join. To join means to come together, so would that be segregate or integrate? Well, join is kind of the opposite of separate, so we will put that over in integration. Let's look at our next word, apart. Apart. Which category should we put the word apart? That would go in segregation. We're keeping people apart. It's a synonym with separate. They mean the same thing, but they're different words. Our next word, injustice. We talked about this in our very first lesson of Module 3. Injustice means not fair. Where would we put injustice? Good, with segregation. Well, that brings us to our next word, unfair, which we just said is the same as injustice. So we will also put that with segregation. Our next one is civil rights. Well, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 made it illegal to separate people based on the color of their skin. So would that be integration or segregation? That would be integration. Our next word is Jim Crow. These were the laws that separated black people and white people. So that would go with which one? Segregation. Our next word was a trick word a couple months ago. Together. Is that integration or segregation? Integration. Bringing people together. Next word is justice. We already had injustice, so where would we put justice? On the opposite side with integration. And our last word is fair. We have unfair on the segregation side, so it would make sense to put fair with integration. If you need more time to sort your words, you can pause the video. If you are done, we are going to practice filling in these sentence stems. We have I placed blank in this category because blank. So I want you to practice that with a word from integration. I placed join in this category because integration is when people join together who were separated. Now you try with a different word. Then try the same thing with a word from segregation. When you're done with that, let's talk about how these words are related. Blank is related to the other words because blank. Segregation is related to these words because, and fill in the blank. You do not have to write that anywhere. You can just practice saying them out loud or in your head. So for this deep dive, you had a couple tasks that need to be done. You have to write integration and the meaning of the word in your vocabulary notebook or vocabulary section of your notebook. So make sure you do that. And then you need to make sure you completed handout 4C. If you did both of those things, you are done with the deep dive.